guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's been a little while since I updated anything, since I told everybody I was pregnant. I just kind of disappeared, mainly because I was waiting for my first doctor's appointment, which wasn't until November 29th, and I was like 11 weeks, or I would have been 11 weeks, and they canceled that appointment and rescheduled it for December 4th. So I was 11 weeks and 5 days. So everything's going great. Today I'm officially like 12 weeks and 3 days, I think. Sorry if I don't sound excited, but I'm sick. It's like sinus and throat, and of course you can't take anything when you're pregnant, so I'm just kind of like suffering through it right now. So yeah. So I'll just talk about a little bit about like what's been happening this last 12 weeks. So like when I found out I was pregnant, I announced it like immediately, and that's when like my morning sickness started, like immediately, the throwing up part, and then it stopped when I was about 7.5 weeks along, and then from 7.5 weeks to about 9.5 weeks, maybe 10 weeks, I would just feel incredibly nauseous if I didn't eat like at like just the tiniest little inkling that I was hungry. Like I had to eat immediately. Like it was like every 2 hours I was eating, or like, I get back to work from lunch and I would be like half an hour later eating something. So yeah, and now from 10 weeks to about 12 weeks, I'm fine. Everything's going fine. There was probably like 2 days that I was just nauseous all day long. At one point I did have a headache for 5 days. It was terrible. Like I thought I was just like dehydrated, so I was like drinking water and water and water and water, and it still wouldn't go away. But I took Tylenol and it went away. So probably for the last like 2 weeks I've had a stuffy nose, and I just thought it was because I was pregnant, like maybe it made my nose stuffy or whatever, because this pregnancy has been way different than it was with Michael. With Michael, I didn't have any morning sickness until I was 8 weeks along, and it only lasted for 2 weeks. Like I had nothing. And then yeah, this one's just been really different. So yeah, everything's going great. Like I said, the heartbeat the other day. Let me tell you about my doctor's appointment. So like, I got canceled, right, and it got rescheduled, and I go in and I have to be there at 10:30 for the ultrasound. So I'm there at 10:30 and I don't get called back for the ultrasound until 10:50. I get in there, she's like, sorry, we had a difficult case before you, it took a little longer than it should have. I'm like, that's alright, no problem. Well, so it's 10:50, my appointment with my doctor is supposed to be at 11 o'clock. And we get in there, and she did the ultrasound on my stomach, because I was almost 12 weeks along, and she measured my ovaries. Well, she put it on and she's like, there's baby, and I was like, oh yay, and so she measured my ovaries, then she like measured the sac around the baby or whatever, or the whatever, I don't know, the black space around the baby. And then she's like, alright, I'm gonna take some pictures of baby, and I was like, okay, cool, she put it on one side, like on just the side, and she took one picture but printed it 4 times. And that's all we got. And I was in there for like 5 minutes. It was literally like 5 minutes. And I was like, cool. And like she didn't even like let us hear the heartbeat. Like obviously we could see it. And she said it was like 163 beats per minute. But we didn't get to hear it, which would have been nice. Like, I don't know, it was nice to hear your child's heartbeat, you know. So then we get done with that. I have to go back out to the waiting room. We sit out in the waiting room. We, as me and my husband, sorry. We're sitting out in the waiting room, waiting, and it's like 11:15, and they finally call me back to see my doctor. So we go in, and the nurse takes my blood pressure, and then, you know, she's got to do the whole, like, your medical history, and, you know, if there's any, like, diseases in your family, stuff like that. And that took, like, 15 minutes, I swear. So at this point, it's, like, 11:30. And she's like, we're not going to do a pelvic exam or anything this time since you just had a pap smear and all that in April. And I'm like, okay, cool. Because I was prepared to have one. So, like, I thought for sure I would have, not a pap smear, but a pelvic exam for sure. And I didn't. So, anyway, so she leaves and she's like, I'll get the doctor in here. And waiting. Like, it was probably like 11:45 before he even walked in the room. And then, it might have been later than that. It might have been like 11:50. And, you know, he's like, well, he's like, how was your ultrasound? Did you get some cool pictures? I was like, we got one picture 4 times. And he's like, oh, well, sometimes baby's difficult to take pictures of, you know. And I'm like, no, it wasn't, because she said that the baby was in a perfect position, and then she only took 1 picture. Anyway, so then he's talking about, like, do we want to do genetic testing? Do we want to, like, do I want to do a repeat C-section? Do I want to do a VBAC? And I'm like, you know, we haven't really talked about any of this. It was like, mainly we were just waiting to make sure that, like, I was still pregnant, you know. And, so then he's just like, alright, well, I've got nothing else. And we left. And, I mean, we probably talked to him for, like, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. And it was, when we walked out of the doctor's office, it was exactly 12 o'clock. So, we were there from 10:30 to 12 o'clock. For an hour and a half. It's ridiculous. And I only got, like, maybe 10 minutes of interaction time with the ultrasound, like 5 minutes with ultrasound lady and 5 minutes maybe with my doctor. So, I was super annoyed, which I guess it's not really his fault because he had taken the week off before, so he was trying to catch up on patients, I guess, but damn. Like, it's my first appointment, and I feel like I'm being rushed. So, anyway, excuse me. So, now that that's over, I don't go back until January 3rd for my 16-week appointment. And then, like, in February, we find out the gender. I think we might do genetic testing. We talked about it. I think we're going to do the blood test one. Anyway, yeah, so that's all I really got. I mean, nothing has happened. It's been easy, been kind of boring, you know. I mean, nothing interesting has happened. I haven't had any spotting or anything. It's just, that's where we're at. We told Michael after my appointment, and he was excited. And we were telling him, you know, we didn't know if it was a boy or a girl yet. And he's like, or a robot. We're like, well, it's not a robot. So, So yeah, I mean, he's excited. And we told the rest, like told all of our family that same day, and they're all excited, you know, and yeah. And I guess I'll show you the belly. I don't have much of a belly because I'm considered overweight, and I got loose skin and extra fat from, well, just gaining weight, but the loose skin is from Michael, so it doesn't really look like much, but at night, like, you can definitely tell, like, I look way further along than I am. Oh, I forgot to say in there that in the ultrasound, the baby measured at 12 weeks. So it was measuring 2 days ahead of where it should be already. And that was another thing he talked about, like, for my VBAC, if I felt like the baby was going to be smaller, like towards the end, if the baby was smaller, then we could try for the VBAC. And I'm like, this baby's already measuring ahead. And like, I don't think it's going to be much smaller. And like, Michael was 9'6", and when my mom had me, I was my mom's second child. I was like an ounce away from 11 pounds. So I really don't think that this child's gonna be smaller. But you never know. But I really don't think so. Oh man. I'm sorry. I'm exhausted. Like, I can sleep anywhere and everywhere, and then when it's time to actually go to bed, can't sleep. And I lay in bed for like hours not sleeping, and then finally I'll fall asleep, and no matter what time I finally fall asleep, every night I wake up at 2 a.m. every night. And I lay there for probably about half an hour before I finally fall asleep again, and then I have to be up in the morning at like 5:30, and I have to be up in the morning at like 5:30, and I have to get myself ready, and then I have to get Michael ready for school, and then, you know, I go to work all day long, and I'm exhausted while I'm at work because, you know, retail, and it's 2 weeks away from Christmas, so I'm always busy. And sorry, I feel like I'm complaining now. Anyway, so I guess I could show you what belly I have. Let's see if I can do this where I'm at. Might not work. Oh. Like, this is... Here we go. So my pants are undone because they go together, but they're super tight. And who wants to wear super tight pants? So I have them held together with a hair tie, because the maternity pants I had with Michael do not fit. So anyway, like I said, this is just like extra skin and junk. Like, it's just fat. But it's hard to tell, but you know, it's there. So yeah. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Sorry I'm super boring on this video because I feel like garbage, but I just thought I would update you guys because I kind of left you hanging after I found out I was pregnant. So, thank you for watching.